Hey guys, the Brain Scratch crew here for our first ever 3DS game, shock, horror, amazement. This is Kid Icarus Uprising, the game which is arguably the first worthwhile original thing to come on the damn thing.
What's that Nintendo made a game that doesn't have Mario in it?
More importantly, Nintendo made a game where they put effort into the entire thing. The shock. The horror.
They can do it. Yes, they can.
If they try.
That's a pretty big if, but
I'm just seeing an Obama campaign poster with Mario's face on it now.
In all honesty, though, this game really shows what Nintendo can do when they put effort into a lot of things, and it just kind of makes you a bit depressed that they don't in a lot of cases.
Well,
effort and
let's
originality.
Well, we should probably get the most depressing thing out of the way first. Didn't Sakurai himself say had no interest in making a sequel to this, and he said it'd be about 25 more years before he makes another game?
Oh, don't joke like that, man.
Yeah. No, he just said he has no interest right now. No one ever said that that Nintendo couldn't get a different team to do it.
Being honest, I think that the Wii U would actually make a really good Kid Icarus Uprising 2 system because you have the touchpad control for the people who like the touchscreen stuff more, and you also have dual analog sticks for the people who get hand cramps.
We can chat later, Hit, but now it's
Also, voice acting in my
good voicing in my Nintendo game.
What the hell is this shit?
Oh, come on, guys. We've had years of wahs and woohoos. That doesn't count.
No.
Well, why not?
It was
Does anyone?
It's just nice to see them try again, because I think the last Nintendo game with full voice acting before this was Other M, I think?
Other M and Sunshine.
Oh.
Well, the Star Fox was all.
Well,
Yeah, Star Fox has voice acting, plenty.
Yeah, so it's just nice to see that, okay, yeah, Other M isn't their standard for voice acting anymore.
Alright, so here's what I want to know. How well did Kid Icarus Uprising do?
It did well. It sold well enough. Like, it's not a Mario Solar, but it broke 1 million copies at the very least. So,
I'd like to point out, mythologically, Medusa is supposed to be ass ugly on purpose. Like, that's the point of the myth.
Yeah, but we need her hot anime redesign because fan service? Question mark.
A sexy voice by Cree Summers.
Actually, the Medusa myth is fairly interesting because in some versions of it, she was turned ugly as a protection. In some versions of it, it was some petty form of revenge.
Oh, well, Kid Icarus doesn't follow anything, so basically Palutena thought that Medusa was being a bitch and made her ugly. That's basically how it works.
Palutena's a bigger bitch than even Medusa is in this world.
Yeah. She's also she's probably my favorite character in the game, though, honestly.
Palutena?
Yeah, Palutena. Well, at least, like, writing, actually, you know, it's kind of hard to pick. She's one of my favorites.
Is that green hair down on the bottom screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's green hair.
This is an awkward screen layout, by the way.
Well, it might be changed by the time I upload this onto YouTube. Who knows what'll happen. This is why saving your project files is good, kids.
Yes. Damn right it is. What I want to know, though, because at the point of this recording, I'm about 13 chapters in. I didn't want to be the complete noob for this one, even though I did get this launched. Was the whole plot or like writing of the story completely changed when it went from Japanese to English?
No, there was somebody.
Basically, what happened is the main plot points are still there, but Sakurai basically let the localization team, do their fucking job.
John, online, I forget who the screen name is, but somebody put.
Someone's phone is vibrating.
Oh. Somebody, I forget whose screen name it was, but they recorded a Japanese playthrough of the game, and they literally translated all of the lines. So, basically direct with no localization. Again, the main plot points are the same, but the only thing that's changed is like the specific wording of jokes and stuff like that, so that it would make sense to a Western audience and sound natural.
Yeah, so a lot of in-jokes for Western audiences.
Yeah, basically, it's written. They let the localization team do their jobs, and that's the most important thing, really. It's not 4Kidsified either, too, which is nice.
Yeah, and I'll say right now, like, I love the way this game looks. The soundtrack is fantastic. It really is a great looking and playing 3DS game. But with that said, again, and I don't know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I don't like the controls.
You're using the stand, right?
I'm using the stand when I'm playing the game when I'm not on my bed. But this game really needed a right analog stick.
I don't
Yeah.
mind the thing. I'm
Well, I don't mind the option. It's just that, just for comfortable sake,
Yeah,
just please.
because I get hand cramps every time I play this game.
Well, I never had hand cramp problems, but I also had a very specific and convoluted way to have it, where basically I had a table. Nothing was on the table but the stand. I put the game on the stand and I stretched my arms out as far as I could reach them, and that way I didn't have hand cramps. And I discovered that relatively early, so I never really had any problem with that.
To be honest, games like this are kind of the reason I prefer the Vita's hardware, because they're just the control and the shape of it is just better for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, like,
Again, that's why everyone who likes this game would like a Wii U.
yeah. Just to fill everybody in, like in case you never played this game, you control Pit with the left analog stick. Well, you control with the way he runs with the left analog stick. You shoot with the L trigger, and then you point and aim where Pit shoots with the stylus on the the touch screen.
You also use that to change the camera in his direction by sliding it around.
Yeah. And if you're gonna play this game, I hope you have a normal 3DS.
Yeah.
Because if you
The XL's too heavy.
the XL, while gives you better clarity, it's bigger, so more hand cramps.
Well, the game looks absolutely gorgeous if you play it on the XL, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, I don't want to say it's the best looking 3DS game, but it's definitely up there.
Oh, I agree.
Because, I think Shin Megami Tensei 4 looks a little bit better. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, most awkwardly named game ever, yay, looks a little bit better. But still, I think out of all of Nintendo's first party stuff, this is probably their prettiest game.
So what's
That and Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah,
probably.
true.
Oh yeah.
I think at
It
that
does
point
look
it's just
very
which art design you like better.
I have a question. Have you played this one with the 3D setting on?
Yeah, I
Yes.
keep
Yes.
the 3D on around half slider for every game I play. So
It works, but again, it's just one of those you really don't need it.
it's not there's not too many points where they throw stuff in your face. It's just sort of a subtle.
It just looks like one of those games where 3D would actually be fairly pretty.
Yeah, the flying sections in particular look really nice if you turn the 3D on.
I would agree there. So what's your preferred weapon of choice, Ted?
Well, I only ever use one weapon throughout this entire playthrough, which is this rose staff I have here. So why don't you tell me? I know that some people might have wanted to see other weapons,
Wait.
but hey, this is the
Go
only...
watch Emil's playthrough.
Wait,
This-
is that a two-headed dog?
Yeah, that's...
Someone actually acknowledged that exists.
No, wait, I think it has three.
No, it's twin.
No,
Bells.
it's Twin
Twin
Bellows. To completely eliminate the point of the name, it had 3 heads.
Well, there actually is a two-headed dog in Greek myth, if I recall. I forget what it's called though.
I can't remember if Cerebus is the two-headed one or the three-headed one.
Cerberus is three-headed.
Cerberus is the three-headed. It has a similar name, but it's hang on, I'll look it up.
Yeah, that
Just the
boss
way-
is pretty easy even on the
Just the
higher
way I like my
difficulty
bosses to
settings.
die.
Listen well, Medusa.
So does she just have a hologram projector somewhere up in the sky or something?
Yeah, why not?
Let's return for now. This was just our first step into.
It's powered by no fourth wall.
Yeah, there is no fourth wall.
There is no fourth wall.
Orthrus. Orthrus is the name.
Oh, I should have known that. I played too much
Well,
Shin Megami Tensei 4. to
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
it's in SMT and Persona. Yeah, I just never use it.
Okay, so while I did 7 point whatever it was for the first stage, I'm going to be hovering around 5 for the rest of the playthrough, because I want it to be challenging enough to have fun, but I also don't want to die a lot. So.
You're no Emil.
Well, okay, you see, I like this game, but I'm not very good at it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I
For
only
my
have one decent weapon, which is the Rose Staff. Although, really, you shouldn't be using... A lot of the weapons I don't think are good for the single-player campaign. I don't think you should ever be using clubs during the
No, never use clubs for single player.
I mean, they're good in multiplayer matches, but anything melee-focused is not good for the single-player campaign.
So what you're saying is we need
Oh.
I'm more of a staff and orbiters person.
Well, the weapon I have now is the Gowl Blade, which is named after the boss of this place. Actually, that we'll be getting to soon. But what
Blades are kind of just the middle ground for everything.
I like it because its range is fantastic.
Oh,
You
check
know.
out that fabulous fourth wall breaking going on in the bottom screen there.
There's a whole lot of that in this game.
Yeah. There is no fourth wall.
Yeah.
I think this is Nintendo knows how to be funny and charming when they try. Also, there is a lot of detail, like Pit like flinched when the lightning landed right in front of him and stuff like that. So, you know, that's cool too.
Yeah, so it's
Well,
not
that's a good part about on rails sections, that you can really plan that stuff out.
Have you guys ever played Sin and Punishment?
Yes.
I played the sequel. It was okay. I don't know. I didn't like the Sin and Punishment an awful lot because I didn't feel like anything I was blowing up had any oomph to it. Things just sort of disappeared.
I was just thinking a lot of Sin and Punishment though when I was first playing this game.
Yeah, I think more of Star Fox, which this was originally going to be. So.
It was. I thought.
At the very, very, very early stages, it was a Star Fox
That
game.
explains the flying segments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do sort of play in a Star
Oh, we'll
Fox
definitely be getting
manner.
some Star Fox feelings later down the road.
Stage 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I detect a note of smugness in your voice?
Yeah, Star Fox and Sin and Punishment are probably the most similar things to compare it to, yeah.
And really, if you gotta go for a play style, I'm glad it's this. I feel it does make a whole lot of sense for a character like Pit.
Even though he can't traditionally fly.
No. Well, you know, that's a plot point.
Yeah.
Although, it's surprising, though, because everybody says that these flying sections are the best part of the game. And since it plays basically like a Star Fox, you think that they'd be more enthusiastic about making a new Star Fox game.
Didn't sell the 50 bajillion units needed to sell to make another Star Fox game.
Oh.
Yeah, if we want to talk about just if you even want to think about conceptualizing a sequel, you got to break 10 million.
Pit behind you.
Damn it. We only got 9,999,999 copies.
Well, I'm sorry, that's not 10 million.
Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to go home then.
Take
Another
your
boring
$500,000.
Animal Crossing for everyone.
Now,
there's
normally
a
that
juggernaut.
thing's supposed to be chasing you through that, but since I have an overpowered weapon, I just sort of glide through the kill.
Yeah, you can destroy it before you get to here.
I'll help you over.
Although talking in unjoking practical terms, a game like this can't have been that high of a budget title.
Well, Sakurai made it, so,
There's lots of detail in lots of weird places. So.
Yeah, well, detail in weird places does not exactly equal budget.
Well, basically, it's Sakurai, so Nintendo basically gave him however much money he needed to make this however he wanted to make it, is basically more my point. And
Whatever
there is
he
a lot
needed
of
and whatever
really...
he used it.
The thing about these on-rail sections, though, is that there's a lot of... there aren't a lot of repeating environments in this game. Every chapter, you're in a completely different place, which means they can't reuse very many graphics assets.
In fact,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things about this game when it comes to the aerial sections is that the soundtrack reflects your current situation because you're on rails. The soundtrack correlates to what's going on in the situation as of now. So like when you're flying up the mountainside and went over, you got that aerial shot of the moon and stuff like that, the soundtrack got really quiet, and then when things start picking up, the soundtrack starts picking up along with it too. I love that detail.
Chapter
Yes.
6, I think, is the best use of that, but Chapter 6 is also one of the best chapters in the game, so...
That's not exactly something you can do if you're in a player-controlled section.
Yeah.
Well, the entire soundtrack, even during the 3D sections here, it's all fantastic. This is one of the best soundtracks on the 3DS. It's fully
I think
orchestrated too, which makes me rage at 3D Land even more. Well, no, wait, not 3D Land. Sorry, New Mario U. Why did that game not get an orchestral soundtrack? Why?
Because that would have been expensive.
I just cannot wait for the remixes in Smash 4.
Oh man, yeah, that's when I saw the Kid Icarus Uprising stage on that Miiverse post, I didn't think, ooh, new stage. I thought, yay, Kid Icarus remixes. Same things when I saw the Fire Emblem Awakening stage. It's like, new stage, that's. I guess it's just Smash Brothers, but I'm looking more forward to the soundtrack to that game than the game itself, which is
How often do you guys like in between chapters like go to like the arms altar to buy weapons or fuse weapons?
When I was first playing the game, a
just-
lot. Now that I have
Yeah.
the Rose Staff that kicks ass, not much anymore.
It just depends on what well, yes, early on I did a lot, but whenever I complete a level, it really just depends on what I pick up.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that I can complain about it, though, is that it's a little bit too complex for its own good. Like, you pretty much have to look up a guide online if you want to figure out how to get any good weapons or something like that.
Yeah, I got it was by complete happenstance or just luck in general that because the way I handled my playthrough and what I'm currently doing right now is that I complete the level at first on standard difficulty, 2.0, just so I can get an idea of what the level's like. And then I immediately revisit the level in a higher intensity, usually around 5 to 6. Or if there's an intensity gate at a specific level, it's usually around there. Fuck you, chapter 8, I think it was.
Well, I think that has a 9.
Yeah, that one has a 9.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good luck
and
with that.
that's how I generally handle my playthrough. So, like, around chapter 4, I already had an orb staff that had 4-star range and 4-star melee.
Nice.
Well, at that
and
point,
don't change-
you can basically
Don't-
demolish anything that's like 6 or lower.
Yeah, well, nowadays, and I'm around chapter 13 right now, and I mentioned the blade I have now. I think that's about 6-star range and about 3-star melee. But
Don't change it to anything else.
yeah, I was gonna say that the range combat is pretty much all I need because I'm decimating everything, even in higher intensities.
Incidentally, is there a reason you dash and shoot at the same time?
Yeah, if you...
It's so you can avoid attacks while shooting.
Basically, how the 3D shooting works is that, you can shoot normally, like shoot while moving. You can also wait and charge up a charge shot, which you can tell that you have by those little 4 dots around the reticule there. That means I have a charge shot ready to go. If you dash and shoot, you'll do more damage in general. Also, that's where one of the horoscope weapons is. I already got it, but I just wanted to show that it was there. If you dash and shoot, you can do generally more damage, and dashing in general will help you dodge shots and stuff like that, so...
Wait, so if you dash forward and shoot, what, how does that work? Do you add...
You'll move forward while shooting, and the shot will also do more damage.
You can dash
I
out
be a
in
Smash 4 character.
You can
I
dash
actually would
out
rather
in
have
4 different
Palutena
ways.
than Magus, honestly. I think she'd be more interesting to play, where Magus would probably just be Ike again.
I like Dyke.
Yeah, I liked Ike too, but I don't want to have another Ike. I'd rather just have Ike. I like Ike.
True, but if we're probably gonna have a replacement for Ike, I'd rather it be Magnus.
Okay, how about this? Magnus and Palutena. Does that work for
Fine.
everyone?
Sure.
This is another thing.
I love his theme though.
Yeah, his theme is another one of the really good ones in this game. I think
What is it with anime and swords that are too big for any human to wield?
Well, he's really the only human that can, in this game, that can actually, fight. Basically, which is what makes him special.
So we have to give him a massive sword that's about as big as his entire body?
Basically, yeah.
Lewis, where have you been?
Have you not read Berserk?
No, I haven't, actually.
This shit's been going on since 1997, dude.
I know.
This guy immediately
getting
reminded me
old.
of Jet from Final Fantasy X.
One of my favorite trailers for this game was you see Magus and the boss of this level, Gal, going off, and they're just snarking at each other, and it doesn't look anything like Kid Icarus, and then Pit goes, "Hey, wait, you two know each other?" And then, the theme music plays and stuff.
Especially for a human.
You gotta go after that clubber skull down there.
What Clubber Skull?
There's a clubber.
There's an
Oh,
area down
you're not in the area yet.
It's convenient.
There's a clubber skull down in one of the second levels of the stage that you can fight for a hell of a lot of hearts, especially in higher. The clubber skulls can go fuck themselves. I hate them.
Yeah.
I recorded this like a year ago, dude, so I don't really remember when I did when and why.
Oh Jesus, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been. This was the first thing I might have recorded Sonic Rush first, but this was one of the first things I recorded when I got my 3DS recorder about a year ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, generally, like dash shots are your best friends, especially the sideways ones, because you get dash shots also home in.
Well, no, that homing just depends on the weapon and what stats you get with it.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I coincidentally just had every weapon home in on a target.
Stabs don't tend to home in. Orbitars and bows tend to, I think, be the best homers from my experience. Although the individual stats you get on each weapon determines its homing and stuff like that.
Now that's what I'm talking about. You go in fully dressed? Don't you at least want to change into a swimming tunic or something?
Oh, no. Angel's code of conduct says that we must always be ready for duty.
I guess you wouldn't be an angel if you didn't do things by the book.
I like how we're too busy listening to the dialogue to actually talk about anything.
But it's a sacred puns line.
Yeah.
We're done talking about this.
What is
No,
with
this
the
is-
giant nose glasses?
That's one of the ones from the enemies from the NES game, so
Yeah.
it's
This is the most random as fuck enemy type for this kind of game.
Again, just to get back on the dialogue a little bit, this is the kind of humor and just kind of characterization Nintendo needs to be putting more in their games. We all kind of know that, aside from maybe Metroid or the occasional Zelda, they're not really going to do anything really all that dark or mature, but you look at Mario and a few other series, and it's just kind of like you have no personality to begin with. So something like this would work perfectly for a lot of them.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
it does-
that's what we at least have when it comes to Mario. We have the
Well, we had the
RPG titles.
RPGs, but yeah.
Well, the
Well,
RPGs are an example, are basically an example that shows that kind of charm can work. But
Well, I don't think every Nintendo game needs this amount of dialogue and story. Like Pikmin 3
Well, no,
has
I'm
the
not-
same
I'm not-
tone as this game, but not nearly as much dialogue.
I'm
And
not
it
saying
still
they need
works.
tons of dialogue. I'm just saying,
no.
you know, instead of making Mario a cardboard box in all of his platformers, you know,
Yeah, we don't want Captain Falcon talking about our sacred buns.
Well, you know,
although
just,
Captain Falcon is quite sacred.
just story isn't necessarily just plot. You can have plot. You can have story, but no plot.
Well, that's a lot of the dialogue in this game. A lot of like the conversations is just Pit and Palutena shooting the breeze while he's making his way to the next boss.
Shooting the breeze while shooting through the breeze.
Yeah,
Good job, Lewis. I'm proud of you.
yeah, but that's generally how all cutscenes in this game are handled. They're real time, so you got the dialogue going while you're playing the stage. Sometimes though, I can find that a bit distracting. So what I just do is stand still until they stop bickering.
Well, that's
Yeah.
no, that's the one thing that I don't like about it is that you know you'll be walking through an area and one of the like randomly generated dialogue options will pop up. You know, like sometimes Palutena will comment on what weapon you chose or something like that. And then when you go into another area where a scripted dialogue sequence is about to start, then that conversation ends and the other one begins or something like that. You know, that's
Yeah.
the only thing that these sort of real-time conversations can sometimes do. You don't always hear the entire thing if you're listening and playing at the same time. But,
Yeah, you're too busy shooting everything.
yeah. Although I was never too engrossed in the game that I like completely missed what anybody was saying or something like that.
You also can move the text dialogue onto the
Angel
top.
face.
You can also move the actual text dialogue onto the top screen.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing.
Well, reading the dialogue I think would be more distracting to playing the game than listening to it.
Well, no, it's just there if you wanna.
Didn't know. What have I done?
Well, I would have done that for this playthrough and just kept the top screen, but then we've also got artwork down there, so. Eh.
Besides, she looks like she's still holding on.
Also, Metroid references,
Really?
obvious
We need to
Metroid
regroup. The
reference.
war against Medusa is
Yeah.
just starting.
And now I'm killing things with her blade.
Also, I got a bunch of weapons that I'm never going to use.
Huzzah.
At this point in time, I still have not experimented with orbitars or arms.
Our orbitars are actually quite good, and arms are also kind of an alternative to blades in terms of being jack of all trades, masters of none.
Gotcha. Okay.